In the trade industry in Australia, I don't know what it's like in New Zealand.
That's bad, man, yeah.
We've got the highest rate of suicide, with the highest rate of drug addicts, alcoholics. If you don't go to university or whatever, what do you do? During COVID, so we quoted this waterfront, big home, 3-story rooftop bar. Like when we first quoted it, concrete was 135 a square. Right now I'm paying 240. It just happened so quick. We lost our contracts. And it got to the point that we only had one job on. And me and my wife had to sit in our office and we had to fire everyone.
Chris, thanks very much for joining us today, man. I know it's your first podcast. I've done a few, but I still get nerves, trust me. GC local, just down the road, eh?
Yeah, so we're in Broadbeach Waters and our office is just around the corner.
When did you first sort of get into building versus where you guys are at now? How long have you had your business for?
I guess I always knew I was going to be in trade. When I was a kid, my dad was a painter and that's how he paid for private school. We used to go and paint in school on the holidays. Going back from there, I guess I just knew that I was going to end up in some sort of trade. Sort of finished school and we've been going for about 14 years now.
Were you an academic at school? Were you a sporty person?
And I was like pretty academic, like very good at maths. English not so good.
Obviously you've been in business for a while. Do you look at, like, are you guys looking at new technology, new stuff all the time?
Always using a lot of good programs. You've got to grow and evolve with the times. When we first started, there wasn't really social media, just started cracking the path. So, the way you used to advertise 14 years ago to now, like we used to write letters at our kitchen table and we'd be folding them up and put a stamp on it and sending them out. You wouldn't even think of doing that now. So
do you know what your ROI was off a letter drop maybe?
Mate, that was when we first started, so I couldn't tell you. But like we didn't have any clients. We had nothing. So, my wife and I would sit on our kitchen table at night time and literally she'd pump out a whole lot of letters at work. We'd come home, we'd fold them up and we'd have like a flyer introduction and then we'd just mass mail it out to high rises and sort of commercial places.
How did you get your first job with SimCorp? Like, do you want to go back and maybe just your apprenticeship time leaving, and then when did you get your first job that was yours?
I've always wanted to own a business. Even before this business, I had another business selling rainwater tanks. Didn't have much money to be able to advertise, like I was pretty broke. So it was sort of like, how do I do it? And I was trying to come up with ways to think, how can I be better than those guys that have spent 20 grand a month on advertising? And I was at a hotel and I was like, you get the square of I'm busy, don't clean my room. And I was just copied that.
Or clean my room.
So I copied that with a flyer and put it on people's doors and didn't even knock and just kept walking around and got like really a lot of work out of it. So
you never got attacked by a guard dog?
No, none of that.
One of the questions I had in here, apparently you don't turn off, you can't sleep.
Yeah, no, I struggle to switch off. It's
still now?
Still. And I know you talked a lot about healthy eating and I've sort of tried to get better in my lifestyle over the last few years, but it's a hard balance. Unfortunately, when you're in with me, I've got sort of 30 employees and 20 jobs going at once.
Yeah, man, that's tough. I was up at 3:30 this morning, and I struggle to. I don't know. I don't have a secret sauce, man.
Yeah, and then you throw kids in the mix as well, and it's life.
Yeah. So your son's a professional golfer, eh?
Not professional. His ambition is to be professional. So he's only 12. He's very good.
Nice.
We travel to America twice now for the Junior World Tournament, so we go over there and he gets to play against all the other best kids of his age group in the world. He's got on with golf every day, and then he sees the hard work that we put in life in our business, and he puts that into golf. You wouldn't see the dedication that he does every day is 5-6 days a week. For a kid his age, he'd spend 30 to 40 hours a week playing or training golf. We have to pull him back, and it's like, if we don't do it, if we keep him at home, he'll be in the dining room doing putting drills downstairs. And I guess just some people just know what they want to do, and that's what he wants to do. So it's going to give him those avenues to continue that path.
Were you sporty at school?
I used to play footy and soccer. Yeah. But golf sort of come from my wife's family.
How often, so you said you travel twice a year, is it usually just to America? Is there a lot of stuff within Australia?
We travel around Australia. So last year was in the Queensland team. He was the Queensland captain, so we went to Perth for that, and then we went to Canberra. So there's a lot of travelling and just tournaments. And
cool.
Yeah, so it's, besides, I guess that's a little bit of an out for me. It gives me a bit of a goal and focus, and I can sometimes switch off and go, I've we go and help him. We go as a family. We love.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say that must be a good, it must be a good help for you being able to switch off and then see your son do something that's, pretty, you must be pretty inspired sort of by that.
Yeah, no, it's been like some of the stuff he's done is very impressive. Like, like I've watched tournaments, him get hole ones and, lots of cool stuff. And we were in Hunter Valley last week and he was in a tournament and he was in the final group with kids that are, twice his size and hitting the ball 70 metres further. So it just shows his ability that, at such a young age, he's a lot of talent.
Overwhelmed by pricing jobs well into the night? Feeling clients' pressure waiting on you to deliver estimates? Are you enjoying any kind of life outside of work? RapidQS wants to help you nail wins consistently, building momentum within the amount of jobs in your pipeline. Gain today by getting accurate pricing, receiving client confidence, and especially getting onto the job. RapidQS is your go-to for pre-construction estimates. We guarantee a quick turnaround within 24 hours with a proposal, making it super easy to work with us. Just send a pack of information via email, include plans if you have them, or just a scope, any images, and of course labour rates, whether it's labour only or a full takeoff. And you know what? We'll do the rest. Gain momentum today with RapidQS. Get in touch now and start enjoying your life outside of work.
We sponsor a professional tennis player, low professional tennis player, but it's such a good sponsoring avenue for us. Have you personally, it must be good for you guys being able to go to these things, network. Do you know if you've had any direct jobs come through being in golf?
It is a big networking. I've met a lot of people through it. And growing up on the Gold Coast, it's there might be a million people here, but it's large, but it's small. Everyone knows everyone. Amount of times I talk to someone, they're like, oh yeah, you went to school with this guy, you went to school, it's still small. So yeah, the golf's generally, that sort of sporting and anything you're involved in definitely helps in business as well.
Yeah, funny you say that. I feel when I'm from Wanganui, small town, 40,000, and I go to Auckland, it's 1.6. But then when you narrow it down to construction and then just building, your pool is really, really small.
Yeah.
It's not as big as what you think it is. And it's funny, I know you're keen to talk about this, but when guys are going under or owe people money, there's nowhere to really hide, especially now people are getting found out left, right and centre on.
Yeah, it's a hard scenario that the world's been in since COVID.
Yeah. How long has your business been going for now?
14 years.
What was it like sort of 3 to 4 years prior to COVID versus what it is now?
At one stage there, we were doing maybe 300 to 500 bathrooms and kitchens a year. And then I was just like this, my mind's when you're doing that, man, you've got 300 to 500 different customers over a 50-week period and trying to manage it. And, there's times where we wouldn't have been able to deliver what we should have. We had to come back as a business, go, this isn't working. We're not, we're not giving these customers what they need and I wasn't getting any satisfaction out of it. It's just
no excitement. And then you kind of probably lose your quality aspect. And then if you've got 5, 6, 7 clients a night texting you about one little thing out here and there, it's
it just becomes unmanageable. Probably about 11, 12 years ago, I organised a business coach.
Yeah.
Because I had studied and had a degree in business while I was on the go when I was sort of growing up after school. I did a degree in business, but nothing teaches you what you need to learn. Really, what you learn in that, it might be a theory side of it, but nothing teaches you the reality of what business is going to be like. So we were in it deep and going, all right, I need some help here because, understanding cash flow, understanding just proper invoicing and go, what's coming in, what's coming out is, if you don't understand that stuff, it can just be.
Yeah. And I find when you're playing with your own money as well, you learn way quicker. When you see a lot of your own money going out the door, that's a scary thought.
And I've been with this business coach now probably 11 years, and I still see him weekly. We sit down for 2 to 3 hours every Wednesday. We review the same stuff that we were doing 11 years ago. So, and then, and I'd give that advice to anyone if you need someone who knows what they're doing to be able to teach you, because otherwise you're going to go out there and learn the hard way and it's going to cost you.
Yeah. So for you to get a business coach, did it take one fuck up that you were like, shit, I need a business coach? Or were you like, this is going to be the next step if I really want to get to where I want to go?
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to grow. You don't know. At that young age, I was probably 23, 24, something like that. It's just you think you know everything, but you don't. It wasn't really big fuck ups. It was just a whole lot of, this is too much. Where are we going? What are we doing? I didn't even know what your break even was. It was just like, let's just work and just do what we could.
Keep
just work,
signing
just
up more
pump out
jobs. Yeah.
Just pump them out. And that's what it was. And, and then I got a business coach and he taught me everything. And it was like, the first thing, it was like, this is how much work we need to do to cover costs. And then we broke into we do cash flow. And we sitting and go, so we'd stage it out. So we're going to get this payment in. There might be 30 grand jobs, but you'd still get a couple of payments. We get this payment in this month, and we work out and go, okay, now we can see some cash flow. We can fund this. We're going to be good, but then it's always fighting that little bit to get more work. And I'm on that scale now, but just at a much bigger scale.
Yeah,
I was
it's just a couple more zeros.
Yes.
But you're kind of doing the same principles apply. You're just playing with a bigger number.
But doing more now, we do more rewarding jobs. It's more. I go into it and I still get satisfaction to the day.
Yeah,
and go, this is what I do because these jobs are might be 2 minute home and Broadbeach waters on the river. Yeah, and you look at it and go, wow, this is beautiful. And I'm going, okay, so that reminds me and it brings me back to earth all the time that, this is what I do.
Do you think there was a bit of a turning point with your business when you kind of landed your first big job and you're like, yeah, this is cool?
Yeah, I got a couple of jobs, I guess. As we went into those bigger jobs and I took on some extensions, people go up or out, we call it. Extensions, you call it an addition or whatever, and you see someone that's like, they want whole second level. I'm going, okay, well, a lot of builders won't touch that stuff because it's pretty hard. It's hard.
Can be high risk, yeah.
It can be high risk. You get rains, there's a lot of things that goes on. So we did this job and I was very proud of it, but that job turned into more because you use a bit of social media, you use some photos and it soon become that probably the largest renovation builder on the Gold Coast.
That large reno, did that come from a letterbox drop, you think, or?
I think it came from, we started doing a networking groups, and it come from networking groups.
They're powerful, man, those things. They're highly underrated, I think.
Yeah, there's a group on the Gold Coast called BNI, and, my brothers, I sort of did it early days. He's been doing it the last few years. And it helps because there'll be tradespeople in those groups and we give them work and we recommend them. And, as long as everyone's doing the right thing by each other, it can really be beneficial.
Early days, you're obviously very, very high volume. How has the business changed now? How many projects a year are you doing? Are you doing just a lot more big projects and doing them really, really well? How are you structured that way?
Maybe 2 years ago. So we used to, it'd be a similar name. It's called SimCorp Building Services. I made the call and I go, look, we really need to rebrand, because what we were doing back then was represent what we're doing now. So rebranded to SimCorp Design and Build. And that was to me going, because I was also going through the stage going, I'm not getting enjoyment out of this anymore. I'm just doing these homes and, they might be doing extensions and they're more on the budget side. People are not, it's just to help them have more room in their house. And it wasn't high end. It just wasn't fulfilling what I like to do and give me that back. So I always wanted to do is those high end homes, and sort of developments for people. Doing that, the planning was to go, well, if I can drop it back to 20 or 30 projects a year instead of having 200 and try and, manage the quality.
So right now you are doing 20?
Oh, probably 30. I diversify.
Do you still entertain smaller stuff?
Believe it or not, this year we have been, because I still have in my mind, people talking to me back at GFC, this isn't what's going to go on. And we're going through everyone keeps going, we're trying to bring inflation down. What's going to happen to the industry? So in my mind, I'm going, well, I don't want to put my eggs in one basket. So we're still sort of a team doing renovations and a team doing the other sides.
Do you assess that quite a lot, like market trends, industry, where everything's sitting? Is that like a business coach talk every week?
Yeah, not necessarily weekly, but, we always are going over where our leads are coming from, what leads are coming through, and you can sort of get a sense of an idea of going, okay, right now, you might be getting 90% renovation leads, and it gives you, some sort of indication of what's happening in the industry. But the Gold Coast is lucky. A lot of people have either moved here from Sydney or Melbourne. House prices in the Sydney and Melbourne they're expensive. So
you sell a house on the cliffs in Sydney on the beach, you've got 3 or 4.
And 3 years ago or 2 years ago, Gold Coast was cheap. It's gone up 30%, probably in land value. People coming here and they're dumping $800,000, $1 million into a reno. It's just normal,
Yeah.
It's like they're going, well, this is my ideal location. I can come live here. I don't want to build a home. I can just make this into my dream home. And, they're coming here and doing that and having no mortgage, coming from Sydney or Melbourne. So we get a lot of people doing that.
Within the company, obviously when a new lead comes in, do you kind of have, how do you split it between, cool, man, this is going to be quite a large project that's going to take more of my time or your brother's time. This is just going to be a small somewhat of extension, and you might have a salesperson or project manager. You keen to just talk about internal company structure, not necessarily the build side, but how everything's managed behind the scenes?
Yeah. So we have a sales team.
How many in the sales team?
There'd be 4.
And what is that?
That's including our salesman who handles all the leads, and then the guys that are quoting.
So one person running the sales team?
One person running it.
And then how does the rest of it look?
So we've gone in and probably, I guess, expenses have gotten really high in Australia. Wages have gone through the roof. So the last 6 months, we've actually been training someone from the Philippines. So offshoring. So we're doing a little bit of that. So we've got a team there at the moment who will send them plans. They'll do it all and check it. My brother and my wife have been, with 6 months now, spending training. And so at that point now, we're letting them do quotes. So we invest a lot of time in that. So if a lead comes in, our salesman, or he'll go through it. He's obviously got a process that he'll do and make sure it's
a bit of a vetting process.
Vetting
the right
process
fit for you. Yeah.
Well, first step is our office will call them and just ask a couple of questions, because if our salesman's not there, we just touch base straight away. Someone's going to call you, whether it be 2 hours, 3 hours, he might be outside on site.
Do you make that pretty, is that something you put quite a bit of emphasis on, like communication, speed to get back to people?
Definitely. Yeah, for me. And, if I'm hearing that no one's been called, I'm like, in my mind, I'm steaming.
Yeah.
Like, mate,
why do you think I called it RapidQS, man? I was like, I want to compete with Uber on response times.
And that's what it's got to be like. And I still remember back in the day, there was people that, they'd put a website inquiry through. I'd call them instantly and be onto it. And I always said to my brother, you pump this quote out in a day, we'll get this job. And it works. It's like, bang, you pumped it out, you've got this going. And it's like, they're interested, and it just speeds up the process. And when you're hungry and when you don't have any work, that's the best.
I'm going to get that clipped out right there, because that piece shits on the corporate world 100%.
Yeah, you've got to be hungry and just go, I'm just going to beat that person to it. That's, and you show them that service and be better, then there's 90% chance more winning the job.
I just reckon it shows, if you can do that response time, get a quote back. I did a clip on this the other day, and it's like you kind of always want to have the client respectfully on the back foot. You're always in front of them all the time. And then that has surely got to be when you're following them up 3 or 4 times, and you're like, if one response is, we're still waiting on some other quotes, well, isn't that going to reflect how maybe the job's going to run? Don't you think we're going to quit, do a better job?
My advice to people that are starting up is you got to be hungry. You can be quicker than anyone, and generate work really quickly.
How many leads a month do you guys think you're generating, and versus how many quotes you're sending out? So say if you get 100, you pre-qualify, 40 are good to go, and then are you trying to do that many quotes every month?
Yeah, so we're getting roughly, just say about 90 to 100 leads a month. That's what we get.
I mean, you said the Gold Coast is small, but that's huge.
It is, but there's a high turnover of quality.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people that are ringing up, but like, how much to do this, how much to do that, and unless they've invested or in the home, it's sort of not worth looking at, because I've found over the years, you help them out, and you go to a meeting with a real estate, and no one ever bought that house.
Yeah.
And sit there and go, I've wasted 20 hours this year just with those people. It's like it's no commitment there. There's builders out there that they charge the quote.
Do you guys run that in your?
We don't. I don't believe it's fair. Then people don't see from our side as a new build quote for me. I might have to invest in 2 weeks for someone to do that, and that's a lot of time. And so for me, it gets frustrating if you invest that time. I believe that you should at least give me the time to sit down and go over that quote in person, and just listen, because some people just email it to me, and it's like, I could just show you that, that just cost me thousands to do, where other builders are charging it.
Where did the offshore team, do they just do, so they do all the estimating?
Estimating, and we've now brought into our admin team as well. So part of that whole sales process is in the sales team, we have a lady that generates all the purchase orders. So she'll set the job up, all the purchase orders go to the trades, making sure they've been accepted. So some trades are really useless at quoting. We can't even get quotes out of them, so we've had to sit with them over the years to try and understand how to use quotes.
So we can at least do some upfront pricing for you, yeah.
So we do a takeoff and go, look, so like a or a painter, they're working off a square meter, right?
Yeah.
So a painter might be, say, 35 a square. So we do a takeoff and go, here's a house. You happy with this? Here's the meters, and just show it all. And we find we can get that done in 24 hours versus waiting 2 weeks to get a quote.
Man.
And they come back and the quote might be 10 grand more. And then I have to sit and go, how did you get to this price?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just threw an extra 10 on it because you're quoting it.
And you're like, at least you can give me some trust and you can price it quicker, or the numbers that you've given me are actually accurate, then I can't work.
We have the same with roofers. They're just so... A lot of people are working in their business, not on the business. And that's the key, is they just don't have time to do it. So...
Keen to actually talk about that piece. Obviously, you've got like a full building team. How many guys on the tools, like on wages?
Off the top of my head, I say 15, 20 on wages, but that's just carpenters and apprentices. And then we got our office team.
How do you manage sort of sub-trades, keeping them honest, looking at new ones? That's risky because you don't know what you're going to get. Do you have a process in the business with that?
It's a tough one, and it's tough for everyone. Like we're not perfect, and I've had issues with trades, especially even the last year. I've probably gone through 5 different plumbers. And in the last month, my admin person, Jerry, she's literally been doing connections, going, we're looking for other trades like plumbers, painters, and they're coming in at the moment, and we're doing a full interview process. And I'm going, okay, like I've sat down with all of them, like, show me your business, show me, and then I want to come see jobs now. And it's like, it's gone to that point where people say they can do it, but they can't really do it, Like, I've seen carpenters come on and, how do you not know what you're doing? I just did cladding all my apprenticeship, and ever since RPL came in, it just seems to be the quality of trades in Australia that I've noticed in the last 5 years has really gone down.
Yeah. What's RPL, sorry?
Recognised prior learning. So these guys might have done 5, 6 years on site. Next minute they're doing a little bit to get their certificate. And I really think it's damaging the industry at the moment.
Do you guys invest sort of in apprentices or guys coming in? Do you try and, like, what's your staff turnover like? And do you have any processes with keeping guys, trying to get them at a young age and build them up through the business?
So I've got a bit of a theory. Like over the years, I've stopped employing young people. And it's nothing personal, but they just don't see it through. I just feel like this generation's changed compared to back when we were younger, because I would have got a flogging if I didn't finish it. My ideal person now is early 30s. He's gone out, done something, doesn't like what he's done, might have a missus and a couple of kids and a mortgage. He comes to me and I said, look, I'll put you on and give you a go, because I want to get a mature age apprentice. I've got 4 of them. And come on, I said, do some labouring for a few weeks, maybe a month, and then we'll sit down and we'll see how you go. And I always find that at that age, they've got a little bit of life knowledge. They have to work. They've got kids to feed, and I find that's sort of the sweet gap for me of apprentices.
Marriage and a mortgage, man.
Yeah, they're showing off for work. They're not. The young kids are going out nightclub and they're coming in sick or on their phone. Or it's just changed. Like it just has.
Do you have a no phone rule on site for guys? Do you try and monitor any of that? I know you can't really.
I'm not relaxed, but I'm big on swings and roundabouts. Like I say to our staff, right? Like I won't miss any of my kids' stuff. So I say to everyone, right? If your kid's got a Christmas thing on, or you're going to go to get an award or whatever, you go to it. Like, it was swings and roundabouts, make up for that time. And that's part of the culture. You got to have a good culture. So I'm not going to miss it. So I don't expect them to. So
yeah, talk about the culture stuff. You obviously got a bit of bacon oil on you.
Yeah, got a bit of oil on me. We've been we actually had a staff breakfast this morning. So sort of once every month we'll do a staff breakfast, and then sort of every second month we might go off or play some golf or something on a Friday, or that sort of thing. And it's just, people just need to know that they're appreciated. Because without them, there is no business.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a pretty low staff turnover?
Pretty low. There's been a little bit more since COVID, and it's purely because just the demanding price for trades, and there's not enough in the country at the moment that the price has skyrocketed in the last 3 years. For
were you on any fixed price contracts before and during COVID, and how did you manage?
We were.
Yeah.
So there's
give
a
us
lot
the bad and the ugly there.
There's a lot of builders that that went under. There's something like 6,000 last year in Australia. So we had contracts that were out there, and my jobs sometimes take 18 months to build. So I had one that cost me upwards of around 300 grand to finish. So you got no margin, and that's coming out of my family's pocket. And it hurts. But it's life goes on. We're not in a position where I'm lucky that I've made smart choices over the years and invested. What we've done, and built our own homes and sold and that sort of stuff to not be in that position. But I can see how other builders could get wound up in it. And I had a friend reach out, he's a builder in Sydney, and he goes, look, I need your help. There's a lady in Rockhampton. She's invested in a home in Rockhampton. The builder's gone under. He's taken 8 homes with him. No one will touch her house because that builder owes $2 million to local trades, and no one's interested. And she's on the phone bawling to me, and I'm like, how can I help this lady in? It's like, hey, that's her problem. Why are you helping her? It's Rockhampton. I'm like, I'm a believer in karma,
Yeah,
so
yeah, man.
help this lady, and good things come, so spent probably 4 hours helping her and getting master builders involved, and, and they're bringing trades in from Rockhampton, and they're going to help her get it finished. And I was half thinking, hey, do I go up to Rocky and send some boys up there to help her? But and that's what's happening in this industry. That story is going to be on Channel 9 News next week. And there's 2 houses I think that had to be knocked down. It's that bad a quality that he's done, and he had his apprentices on there and didn't manage it. And
I'd love to hear your thoughts on how do they solve that solution, because you just don't know what developer, how much financial funding they've got, what their backing is, what their in and outs are, and then
we meant to have a regulator. So we have a regulator called the QBCC, and in my opinion, they're just an insurance company. They don't really help the builder, and they don't really help the customer. When it gets down to it, they go, "Oh, you guys go to QCAT and sort out in court," and it's like these people, I had a bill yesterday for $25,000 for QBCC home warranty insurance, right? And the customer's getting charged that. So if they're paying $25,000 for insurance, you'd expect that you should see that through the whole way. But they just wipe their hands of it and go, "You guys go to court," and that's what this lady stuck in. She goes, "He didn't pay that home warranty insurance," which means she doesn't have insurance. She goes, I'm going to sell my house and try to finish. It's just a nightmare. There's so many people in this town that it's happened to this is a town of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
So you got 8 or 10 houses, whatever that's happened, and then all the trades that are locally, they don't get any money. They get burned.
Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into that because that's like a 5-hour topic, man.
Yeah, I could be here all day.
I could go for hours on that stuff, man. How do you run the build side of your team? Obviously made up of apprentices, carpenters, site managers. How do you sort of know what the next best hire is, and how do you kind of structure your carpentry teams? Yeah,
so we've got 2 project managers, and then we have leading hands. So the idea is that the project managers will, the work's split between them, and the leading hands are on site also running it. So we've had to, we've gone through so many different programs, and I've now set on a program called Builder Trend. It's an American program. Really good, and interfaces with the client, interfaces with all the trades.
So they get notifications and
everyone gets notifications, so you can do a schedule, and next minute that person's notified, that job's starting here, and it's just all connected. So the hardest part about building is communication. If all the information isn't there and you don't communicate, it just goes to shit real quick. So it's we've implemented Builder Trend as one, and don't get me wrong, we're not perfect, but I'll always say if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and there's mistakes that have issues that have happened in the past from other trades, and they've left, and it's cost me $50,000, but I'll always go back and that's me. I'm true.
That's your contract with your client.
So in saying that, we've had to evolve and go, all right, over the last 2 years, we've gone back since COVID as well, since all those price increases, because it's gone up 100%.
Do you have any specific examples of, say, an order for some engineered timber flooring, and you got billed $180 a square, and then after COVID it was
concrete? Concrete. So during COVID, so we quoted this waterfront, big home, 3-story rooftop bar, big home. Yeah. When we started, when you're doing suspended slab, you do it. You can't do anything under for a month, and then another month, and you just lose time. So, and then everything else that's going on. So when we first quoted it, concrete was $135 a square. Right now, I'm paying $240.
Yeah.
So you're
a literal double.
It used to go up. Even materials, you'd get a 5% or 2% price increase every 18 months. Yeah. When you get 50 to 100% in that time frame, it's
Were you on a fixed price contract on that one?
That was
Did you go to the client and say,
"Hey, not interested"? I got a contract. It's happened to every builder, and they don't care if you're losing your assets or whatever. I know people have lost their homes and gone under, sort of stuff, and it's the same story. But they've signed up for that price. I can see their side, but it's sort of also it's never happened in history.
I'm in 2 minds about that. I'm in a mind of, hey, we're all in this together. Is there some leeway to meet 50-50? But then I'm also you did sign up to a contract. I'm a man of my word, and that's business. But it's kind of no one could predict.
I've had a couple of clients, and what we did is we went back to them and go, this is what it was when we quoted it, and this is what it is now. Can you just pay the cost difference? A couple of people, okay, and they're understanding because they done it, but not huge amounts. But so we've really had to go back in the last 18 months and break it down to a T.
Yeah. So the QS team's doing a lot more.
Yeah, so we're down to hours. Like we sit there and the boys are cost coded, and it's like, this is how many hours you're doing. I sat down, we're cladding a house yesterday, and I sat down with the boys. I went and met them at 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, all right, we got this many meters. And I'm going, this is what I can pay a carpentry crew. It's going to cost, so they're going to, all I worked out about what I'm going to pay them. And I go, there's going to be you 3 guys here. You've got 2 weeks to do it. There's actually says 86 hours with 3 people to do it. So we sat down and it's like, all right, just so you know, like if you can't do it, then what's the point of me having employees and just get a carpentry crew in?
Do you entertain that, like subbies on fixed rates a lot, or do you prefer to kind of keep
we
more?
We have both now because...
I mean, it's a safer business decision.
It is, but they've got to come from that higher end model, because a lot of these fixed price guys work from...
Rip, shit and bust, man.
Yeah, these
volume. There's no
volume.
Yeah, man.
And the quality's not quite there, and you need better quality on that.
Yeah. Are you guys full time, like all fixed price model? You don't entertain any cost plus stuff at all?
All fixed price. I just find, in my opinion, the cost plus too much fighting in between. They're like, why did it take that long? Why did it happen? And I just, whereas they might, the fixed price model might have a bit of a buffer. Generally, I think it's. I've done like TV shows. We've done like House Rules, Channel 7, and Better Homes and Gardens and stuff like that. And we do cost plus with them because there's no way of doing it, because they're like, I just need 50 trades and this job's going to be, we'll do a whole home in a week, 10 days. And then you can't quite it because you bring in 50 people. We've done cost plus there and it works out. But, I just don't think there's ways of it. I've sat with master builders a couple of months ago and go, this is how they think we should do it going forward. But I just can't see there being a happy outcome for both.
Yeah. What's the most amount of money you've been owed at one time, and how do you deal with a client that doesn't pay?
Like in any given week, we could be owed 500, 800,000 in a week. When it comes to progress payments, I've had people take advantage of me. I've had to go legal options. I've had to do everything. I guess the only thing I would say to everyone is you just got to, everything in writing.
Yeah.
Get a good contract. Make sure your contract's watertight. And then, with your contractors, I've had contractors that have had major mistakes that have cost them. They've walked out and fix this. But, you got to have a good contractor agreement that makes sure and make them sign a personal guarantee form, because at the end of the day, if they're doing that work, they got to be liable, because it comes back on me. I got to be liable for it. So why can't they sign off on their own work?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just being watertight with your paperwork.
Were you always good at that stuff, or did it take your wife or a certain person to be like, hey, we need to sharpen up here?
Probably my wife. Yeah, so she come on. She didn't have a choice, right? So as for typical tradies wife, it's like, I'm going to start a business. Next minute you're doing marketing, accounts, and that's what happens. I still go back to, when we had our first kid, like she just got out of hospital and I was like, I need you to do some invoices.
The voice has got to go. Money's got to come in.
That side of it, eh? Sitting over there.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm scared to look. How do you?
And that's the truth of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. How do you? Are you quite good at balancing work and family life? Like, you obviously struggle to switch off, but
yeah, I'm big on. So my whole goal is for business. Right, your business is designed to give you more out of life. You don't live to work. You work to live. That's the saying. So you need to be able to get this business into a position that it makes your life more comfortable, in a way that you can generate more time with your family, or more time that there's a point that you can have an end game to go. I'm big on, like, I'll take a holiday a lot, a few during the year, take our kids away, our family. We go on long weekends.
Where's your guys' favourite holiday destination? Where have you been?
Everywhere. Yeah.
Anywhere that's on the bucket list?
My wife wants to go to Europe. We haven't done Europe yet, but we've done America a couple times for golf, and you do a lot of the Balis and Thailands, Fijis.
On a whole spectrum, America's crazy on a scale of everything. Like, you think you're doing something big here?
Yeah, very backwards, I reckon. But just the whole. I go over there and I'm just like, yeah, it's a cool place, but I couldn't have lived here. It's so backwards. It's everything they do, don't pay their waitresses, and everyone's got a tip. Just all this, just little things. But I enjoy going to that country. It's cool.
And what do you guys? How long do you guys shut off over the Christmas period? And that, do you have some pretty standard shutdown?
Christmas is probably the most crucial period for me, because as a builder or a trade, it's the only time that your industry shuts and stops. So your suppliers stop. Every trade does.
Yeah.
And it's the only time that the phone ever doesn't ring. So if I'm on holidays, I'm still working. There's no way I can't not deal with it. Something you always got to deal with. That Christmas period, it's like you get to like Christmas Day and you still haven't settled down, but about Boxing Day, you go, and this is good. Like, and I sat with my guys this morning and I told them all, and I go, my biggest worry is this time of year, everyone just goes into, Christmas is coming, they'll peak out. And I said, like mental health's a big issue. So I spoke to them all at our barbecue, and it's like, I want you all, if you're feeling overwhelmed, whether it might be your personal life or whatever, I want you to come talk to me. We're here to help you get through. And, in the trade industry in Australia, I don't know what it's like in New Zealand.
That's bad, man, yeah.
But in our industry, we've got the highest rate of suicide, we've got the highest rate of drug addicts, alcoholics, gamblers. And it's because if you don't go to university or whatever, what do? You become a tradie. So
what are some things that you guys look out for or implement in your business to sort of see? And then you personally, how do you deal with stressful days, mental stuff?
Over the last year, I've just started going back to the gym and, see a personal trainer a couple times a week now, and just trying to, for me, if I have a really bad day and I'm stressed, if I go to the gym, I can walk out of there and go, just pump some weights and I'm feeling good. I feel enough to go, oh, okay, it's good.
Do you drink coffee?
I one a day. I can't have any more. I start getting anxious and shaky. My wife has about 10.
Yes, truth. Yeah, I've just cut back, man. I've gone to, I just go to a single shot espresso and green teas, man. It's like it's the thing for me, eh? So, no, but back on the mental health thing, like, do you sort of have anything where you try and check in with your key guys or employees? Like, do you have anything that
it's more just trying to be aware of what's going on in their personal life, because, like, they're just like me, but there's people with broken marriages, broken kids, and you sort of take it for granted and go, they're doing all right, and to be honest, I have guys that they might not show up once every 6 or 9 months, and I do turn a blind eye to it because I know they're going through a lot of crap in their life, and it's like, and I just text them going, you don't even need to, just tell me I need a day to yourself, and it's like, just text me, and I said, and I'll take care of it, and whatever you do on that day, I'll take care of it. Yeah, it's not easy, especially. And men are taught not to talk, so that's the hard part. You can see, I know that it's like a grey area where it's always like, oh, tough.
Yeah.
And there's a brand on the Gold Coast thing. It's called, it might be straight white. It ain't living. It ain't weak to speak, and they really push it and that sort of stuff. So it's we're all about it. We had someone come in last year and do a big talk on it as well with staff, and especially after that COVID, and because COVID was a big, I don't know, it was like for you guys, but it was disastrous for us in Australia.
Yeah. Did you have to borrow money to get out of that time? Was it a tough?
Not necessarily borrow money.
We burn a lot.
It was the stress and the mental side of it. Like, it just happened so quick. We lost all our contracts. You had to give it back to them. You couldn't hold it. Even though the contracts were there, it was all void because of COVID and the government.
Did you have to physically refund money back to?
Had to refund deposits back as well. And then you're sitting there going, but I've already paid some stuff on it, and you got to work it out. And
what would happen if you didn't, because you'd just have to go down a legal battle for that and
go down a legal battle, and I'm just more like thinking, well, this has got to end at some point, so they're going to come back. And these people are freaking out because they're like, well, I've got no money, I don't have a job, I can't do this anymore. And it got to the point that we only had one job on, this many guys, and me and my wife had to sit in our office and we had to fire everyone, We literally had to let everyone go, and I sat in there and I sat with my business coach, and I was just like, couldn't sleep. I'm like, how do I cut money? I'm ringing this company going, can we, like all your fixed prices, your fixed costs that you're paying every day, and you can't get out of that stuff, like rent, electricity, all just the little things you don't think of, insurances. You can't get out. I'm like, can I get a hold for 3 months? Can I just stop it? And you're trying to sit and go, my expenses might be, $1 million a year. I can't afford to pay $1 million a year while we're all sitting at home.
Yeah, on one job.
And how am I going to cover this fund? So we had to sit there and not only fire everyone, I think you got to pay them out.
How did you do that exact process? Was that like literally everyone come to the office or one by one?
One by one, and we just had to go through and work out who we could keep to get through and let them off. And then it was it's probably one of the hardest things I've had to do. And probably 4 weeks later, they brought in this thing called JobKeeper, and the government's like, we'll give you, might have been $750 a week to keep everyone. And then I come back, I'm doing the numbers, and you go, all right, so we did the numbers, going, I can give you now 20 hours a week. And these people are like freaking out as well. I got no job, I can't do that. So it was just this big ongoing, and I had no work to do. So I used to literally, we were done, and I'd go and play golf every day with the sun. We lived on the back of a golf course, and that's how golf started. So, yeah.
Is he, if he doesn't pursue golf for his life, will he work in the business, you reckon?
Oh, I reckon he's seen enough to not want to do it, but He's pretty smart, so.
Any personal or business goals in the next 5 years that you guys sort of have set in stone? Are you a big goal setter?
For me, I would like to sort of step away a little bit. We've done some of our own projects and bring on a general manager. And
Is he in the business now?
the one that I'd like to put in there, yeah. And then I'd like to just sort of take a little bit backward step and get my life back a little bit and just do 1 or 2 projects a year on the side and still come in 1 or 2 days a week, but they're just answering to,
How many hours a week would you say you're working at the moment, roughly?
probably 50. I guess even when I leave, I'm still working. Like I'll be, the phone doesn't stop. Like I was on the phone probably 6:30 last night, and I leave home at 6. So.
And personal family goals?
And just enjoy, like kids go like that. You don't realise my kids are 10 and 12, and I look back, now that's gone quick. But I can say with my hand on my heart, my kids haven't missed out, and I haven't missed out. Like, I'm always like, nah, I'm going on. I'm taking them out. I'm doing that because I grew up tough. My kids probably a little spoiled, but I'm more thinking about memories. Over this old guy said to me once, he goes, you can't take your cars and your jewelry and all this nice stuff and your money to your grave. He's like, go there, make memories. The other thing you take to your grave is your memories. And I was like, and I sort of live by that now, going, all right, you can always make money.
Yeah.
But you can't get that time back.
I think the trade industry across NZ and Aussie, Tradie is going to make so much more money in the next 10 years. Like there's no one coming into it.
I guess there's ways to look at it and go, going to university, how much are you going to get in the long run? My youngest brother, who now is project manager, he came to us really young, probably 15, did his apprenticeship. By 22, he's a project manager. He's making good coin, has a car, has a phone, has a house, has all this stuff. And kids that he went to school with at university struggling, and at his age, they'd be sitting there going to university and going, well, what are they, probably working just to get by. And he's sitting going, you might be in a job that's going to make 10, 20 grand more or around the same money. So they're going, look at the age difference and go, times have changed,
And you learn so many skills in the trade as well that can be applied to any other business. Like
just life skills. But I think the other thing is if I had my time again, I'd probably go back and find the sweet spot of going, well, you don't need to get big. There's that sweet spot of going, I can generate enough income to feed what I need in my lifestyle at such a lower level before you get big. You don't need to be turning over 50 projects a year. You can be turning over 2 or 3 and just have way less stress and just think it's, I'm at that stage now where for me to generate good, to generate what I need to be even bigger. And it's just like, well, there's more wages, more people, more stress. And I'm going, I think my advice would be that just, meet with someone and really work out the finances on that sweet spot, because you could do probably a fifth of what I'm doing and still be in the same position.
good piece of advice, man. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Legend, bro.